thank Lana and Mackenzie for, I think this is an honor for being, like, Robert and me being the first readers in this series. So it's a big honor. So I'm going to read from, can you hear me? I'm going to read from a book that I've been translating. I'm a translator. So it's, and this is Tamash's magazine. That's Tamash, and this is the Doris, which Lila is in the last issue of, right? Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of other really good people in there. So, and it's free, right? So I've been translating a book by André Breton and Philippe Soupault. It's called Les Champs Magnétiques. And it was the first surrealist book. It was published in 1920. So I'm not going to say much more about it. It's kind of hard to read, but I'll do my best. I'm just going to read a little bit from the first. This is I've translated 3 chapters so far. So this is from the second chapter, which is called Seasons. Little whistles. I left you too, suburb with your detached houses of sorrows, your pitiful gardening. Sites for plots of land. I have your map and little deserted agencies. Fishing rights are included. Round trip and third class, taking place at the reminder of the next day's lesson or the big blue traps of the day. I slightly mistrust radiant train stations and even temperate waiting rooms, as well as the enigmatic punching of tickets. But I hold a charming hand as I climb up into the fragrance of honeysuckle. Frightful daisy crowns remind me of little girls on the day of their first communion. I descend a monumental staircase with valuable books. Of school, I see nothing but certain collections of journals. Picturesque scenes, with that so rare chiffonnier, the great cities of the world. I liked Paris. I fear the coolness of parlors and the entrance of the man who comes to record absences. Recreations to play dodgeball are too far away. It was in the style of reciting André Chénier's The Young Captive that I chose my first friend. We crushed sweet mint pastilles like the first cowardices. The court is reunited over the categorical imperatives of the prefect of studies. School desks sail 3-masted over zero for conduct, with a surprising dust of transoms that we will find a way to close. I do what I can so my parents will have lots of people over in the evenings. I greatly admire that gentleman's cane. That's the first news I've had of Ethiopia. His nephew offered me to send some tortoises from over there. That is, I do believe, the finest promise anyone has ever made me. And I'm also still waiting for those flowers from Nice, a calendar engraving. Now the prayers are withdrawing. I begin to believe in bluer dresses in front of the bed with a lace coverlet, a work of my mother's. We gradually begin to hope for other proportions than those of the supremely sad scenes of parents' conversations. I think I was very well brought up. At a happier age, they would not have made me go in for a cannonball into a guest bedroom, where I don't really know why, they were witnessing the last moments of General Hoche. His plumed hat was supposed to cover his entire face, and I know very well it was no longer light out. They left me for a few days in that miserable lodging where not a single seat sat up straight. It was much later that the courage came to me to resist the advances of doors. I would go down alone now into the cellar if I still don't know how to keep my balance on the salt marshes of certain key jinglings. The nighttime whitening of the grass has a way of surprising those who have the habit of sleeping under the stars. That's just all I want to read from this one. And then the new chapter. The new chapter is called Eclipses. I'm not going to read all of them. At the 4 cardinal points, night dawns and all the big animals fall painfully asleep. The roads, the houses light up. It is a great landscape that disappears. The humblest gazes of abused children give a repulsive languor to these games. The smallest ones run away, and each worry becomes a boundless hope. Agedness of invented diseases. Can you fight endlessly? 4 of the most heroic emotions, and the whole troop of rejected desires turn pale and lose thick blood. Auxiliary courage of reeking herds, union of mountain lamentations, torrents of salutary curses. It was a perpetual succession, the disjointed circulation of dawns and the sensational circuit of slow rednesses. In a glass full of a garnet liquid, an intense boiling created white rockets that fell back in hazy curtains. Men with extinguished eyes approached and read their fates in the frosted windows of inexpensive habitations. They saw the plump hands of the merchants of usual sensations, and still in the same spot the idiotic and devoted animals. And this heavy ardor, which around 2 p.m. passes close to normal bridges, leaned slowly on the parapets. The sentimental clouds rushed over. It was the precise time foreseen. The galloping light dies constantly by awakening the infinite murmurings of fat plants. The imported chemical riches burned as heavily as incense. Horizontally, the festooned charms of current dreams stretched out. In this boiling sky, plumes of smoke were transformed into black ashes, and the shouts applied to the highest degrees. As far as the eye could see, the monstrous theories of nightmares were dancing disjointedly. At that tumultuous hour, the fruits hanging from the branches were burning. The time of meteors has not yet arrived. Simple rain beats down on motionless rivers. The mischievous sound of tides goes to the labyrinth of moistures. At the contact of shooting stars, the anxious eyes of women closed for several years. They will see nothing more than the tapestries of the June sky and of the high seas, but there are the magnificent sounds of vertical catastrophes and historic events. A man resurrects for the 2nd time. His memory is planted with memories that grow like trees, and gold-bearing rivers flow there. The parallel valleys and uncultivated summits are more silent than extinct craters. His giant's body sheltered nests of sticky insects and tribes of blister beetles. He gets up, and his effort awakens all the hidden buzzing. On his luminous path, animals launched their cries. The tormented sea lit up these regions. An instant vegetation disappeared, and agglomerations of vapors uncovered the stars. Celestial activity explored for the first time. The planets stealthily approached, and obscure silences peopled the stars. The hills surround themselves with the slightest languors. Only the memories of flights remain on the marshes. The necessity for mathematical absurdities has not been demonstrated. Why aren't these carefully crushed insects dying while cursing the pains assembled? All beloved misfortunes push us towards these delicious corners. The tree of peoples is not rotten, and the harvest is unreaped. The commands of drunken leaders float in the weighty atmosphere. Nothing counts anymore. Courage is abolished. Concessions in perpetuity. The bird in this cage makes the pretty child destined for the newcomer cry. Her father is an explorer. The little newborn cats spin round. In this wood there are pale flowers that make those who pick them die. The whole family is prosperous and gathers under this linden after meals. A croupier pours handfuls of gold. Oblivion is the most beautiful passion. You think about nothing but cries. Warm drinks are served in colored glasses. It's in aimless alleys that great deadly sins, condemned to forgiveness, are born. Sinister signposts. It is pointless to rush over armed with your flask of salts. We saw countless numbers of linkless lakes sucked by that little boat with a wonderful name. Early in the morning, that panting disk appeared on the paths we were tracing. Disconnected arm. Supercilious moldings. That could only be an alert. Cotton balls arrived to give birth to the sun, vomited out as if on posters. What comes before has to do with chemical singularities, with those beautiful definite precipitates. I may manage to direct my thought to the best of my interests. Treatment of parasites that enter the ferruginous water. Absorb me if you can. Bags of chicory ornament of wardrobes pertain to their color. Of all imaginable sailors, the one with his chest in the shape of a port of call pleases me best. On a path crowded with stars, these insane cycles gust the wind. We don't have many days left to sleep.
I'm going to stop there.
We got time. No.